Chair now recognizes gentleman from Mississippi, Mr. Harper, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is that all right?
Mr. Bell, when the staff reported in March of 2010 to the Commission about their plans for completing the Yucca safety evaluations in tight budget constraints, their plans were to complete Volumes 1 and Volume 3 of the SCR not later than, I believe, August and November of 2010, respectively. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
Now, according to your report, the EDO and technical staff believe that even if DOE were to withdraw the application, it would benefit the country to have completed the technical review. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
The most critical portion of the technical review, the SER Volume 3, was almost complete and on track to be completed well before November, according to staff. Is that correct?
Yes.
Completion by the end of August is consistent with a not later than November schedule reported to the Commission in March, isn't it?
Sir, and just on that last question
yes,
with
sir.
regards to completion, that was not necessarily concurrence and approval. Okay, while it might very well have been completed by the staff to be forwarded up, it still had to go through a concurrence process, including OGC. So I just want to make sure we clarify that point.
Certainly, thank you. Now, when the chairman learned that the report could be ready in August before the fiscal year, is it true that he inserted himself into the process in June and directed staff to slow down?
He directed the staff to maintain the current published schedule with regards to the release of the various products.
Okay, but did he not, in fact, did you have an addition to that?
I would just note that the August time frame was for Volume 1. It was not for Volume 3.
Okay.
Volume 3 was anticipated in November. However, the majority of the work had been done, and they believed they could get both volumes ahead of schedule.
Okay. But in
Would
fact...
the gentleman yield just for a second?
Yes.
For 1 second. Which is amazing that a government agency would be good enough to move quickly instead of being way behind. So in that aspect, I would applaud the NRC for being prompt.
Okay. And I'll go back, Mr. Bell, and ask this. In fact, though, the chairman did direct staff to issue the SER Volume 3 not earlier than November. Isn't that correct?
His June 11th memorandum speaks to not issuing Volume 1 prior to schedule. It does also speak about other volumes, but only Volume 1 is specifically identified as not being released prior to August.
Okay, but prior to November was Volume 3.
Volume 3 was due in November,
okay.
Correct.
Now, was the impact of his actions and the SCR Volume 3 would not be completed by what date? Did you say October 1? Or what?
November.
November. Okay. Now, as you report on page 27, when senior staff discussed the chairman's actions to slow the completion of the SCR, they indicated to the chairman that it would be contrary to the agency's value of openness and transparency to slow down that work. Is that correct?
Our report reflects that one manager told us that, correct?
So at least one commissioner also warned the chairman that it was not a good idea to slow the process. Is that correct?
Yes.
One commissioner, yes, also agreed that it shouldn't be slowed.
Did the chairman listen to the senior staff or other commissioners and allow the staff review to continue at the same pace the staff themselves had set?
No.
The staff also informed the Commission in March 30, 2010 that it planned to continue to work on any remaining SER volumes until FY 2010 funds were exhausted. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Were those funds exhausted by November of 2010?
No, they were not. By the end of the fiscal year 2010, there was approximately $7 million remaining.
Okay, and in fact, according to your report, the NRC staff, including the EDO, assumed as late as mid-September that the CR guidance would allow for continuing the license review with those available funds, as you said. So the draft EDO CFO memos of mid-September bear this out. So despite the chairman's instructions to slow down, staff planned to continue work using those FY10 funds. But the chairman changed that. That's where we are, right?
The senior staff always anticipated that they would be able to complete certain volumes, and they were relying on FY10 funds to do that.
So this was the chairman's strategy, to slow walk the critical report to October, early November, and then use his budget authority to ensure the staff's findings would not be made public. Is that correct?
I think the report is reflective of the fact that once it got into budget space, you'd have to use another mechanism by which to change the course. And since you did have the budget guidance memorandum that everyone was complying with, it would have taken a calm at that juncture then to move it over in the policy space.
Right. My time's almost up. Let me ask this question. Did your investigation examine whether the chairman's actions were directed by or coordinated with the White House or Senator Harry Reid?
We had no indications or inferences by anyone that came to us that assured us or stated to us that that occurred.
My question was, did you examine that possibility? Did you look into that with any of the witnesses?
There was nothing that would lead us to that from the information of the interviews that we conducted where anyone stated that at all. So we didn't go and probe any further in that regard. We stayed within regards to the allegation that was proffered to us, and no one said that there was any interference by the White House at all.
All right, but did you ask?
I'd have to get back. I want to get back with you on that one particular point just to ensure in our notes. But I just want to assure you that that never came up.
Okay, but my question is, did you ask if there were any communications along the lines of what I just
I'll have to get back with you with regards to that specific question.
Thank you. With that, I yield back.